an encounter with a real jinn in Al-Basra, Iraq? Or was it the rat bastard himself? I'm the Christian whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the Gospel Truth channel. A very exciting story to tell you today, one firsthand from a person that actually experienced it, a person that I trust and believe, and will allow you to make up your own mind about whether you believe the story or not. But we're going to talk about a real jinn experience, part one of a real jinn experience in Al-Basra, Iraq. And I want to share that with you. I think it's going to be very exciting, and there's some things to be learned from it. But let me show you something first that I'm very, very proud of, very, very happy about. And I want to show this to you because it makes me think that, you know what, maybe I'm doing something halfway right. Now, we're not supposed to show you the YouTube analytics and stuff from the channel, but this is just a little bitty peek, and I wanted to show you. In all time that I've been doing this channel, it's been about 5 years now. I've only been really serious at it for about 1.5 years. This shows you what I'm really proud of right here. The views by sex. I don't think there's another YouTube channel out there that can boast this. I really don't. And if I do, if there is, I'm sorry, I apologize. But look at this. 51% male viewership, 49% female viewership. Look at that. It can't get any more evenly distributed. To me, that says balance. To me, that says balance in divine feminine, balance in divine masculine. To me, that's really good news, and that's something that's really, really cool. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And if we could get, 10 or 20 times the males and 10 or 20 times the females, I'd be even happier. But this is a really good development in my view, and it's been this way for about 3 months consistently. 51% female, 49%, 51 male, 49 female. And to me, I'm very proud of that. I think it says something. I think it means something. And I just wanted to share that with you because it makes me feel good. And it's a sorry dog that won't wag his own tail every now and then. So there you go. That's what I wanted to tell you about. 51% male, 49% female. We want to talk about jinn. And I thought that it would be good if the first thing we did was actually talked about jinn in by way of definition, so people know exactly what a jinn is. So let's look at what a jinn is. It's an Arabic word. It really is Al-Jinn, J-I-N-N, but it's Romanized as DJINN, or Romanized, which means, westernized, put into, Roman language. Well, Romanize, another one of those words. What does it mean to Romanize? We're going to clear this word. We're going to try to clear this word. Romanization of Arabic refers to the various methods and approaches that are used to formally represent varieties of Arabic, both written and spoken, in Latin script. So taking the word Al-Jinn and putting it into Latin, which came down into English, got us from Al-Jinn down to jinn. So there you go. Or if it's even further bastardized, genies. And of course, that probably would cause some disgruntled feelings from the beings called genies. As I think that there's ones that are benevolent, and I think there's ones that are malevolent. I don't know if there's any blue ones that grant wishes and sound like Robin Williams, but I think there are some that are benevolent or at least ambivalent towards humans. And they're supernatural creatures or creations found in early Arabian and later Islamic mythology and theology. Now that's important because they predate Islam. And I think most people would consider, oh, a jinn is, oh, but just as I say, they're not blue. Look at this picture over here. There's a blue jinn. So shut my mouth. That's what I get sometimes for trying to be funny, because it's really not. There may be blue jinn. See, these guys, these Disney guys, they know what they're doing sometimes. They know what they're doing all the times. And sometimes they try to pull a funny on us, and you know what? The joke's on us. Wow. So jinn can be blue. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So they predate Islam, and they're part of the Arabian mythology. And Arabian mythology is pre-Islamic Arabia. What was Arabian mythology? It's a mix of polytheism, which means belief in more than one God, Christianity, Judaism, and Iranian religions. Well, what are Iranian religions? That's very interesting. Iranian religions were Proto-Indo-Iranian religions. Beliefs and practices from later indigenous region of the Iranian peoples evolved. It also evolved around the Indian religions, has some, correlation between those kind of religions. Zoroastrianism, you've heard me talk about Zoroastrianism. It was arguably preceding Judaism a little bit and was the original monotheistic religion. So it might have been the first religion of the rat bastard. Today's Zoroastrianism is monolithic, a continuation of the elite form of the Sassanid times. In antiquity, it actually had several variations or denominations, offering differing slightly by location, affiliation, and historical period. So it's very possible that the original Zoroastrianism was not the rat bastard, and yet here it is again. This rat bastard has been a rat bastard for a long time. Because when I first read Indigenous Native Beliefs of the Iranian peoples, so even what we call now Zoroastrianism was perverted and corrupted by the rat bastard, and Zoroaster has had his worship, and probably the many different Zoroasters have had their worship and praise stolen as well. Then there's also Zurvanism. It's a monist dualism. Mandaism, a Gnostic monotheism. That's interesting. Mithraism, the Persian god Mithras. Manichaeism, ditheism. Well, this deserves a show of its own at some point, because this is the kind of the proto-religion of the entire Middle East, where life sort of began, at least in a real modern context or a civilization. This is a show in itself. Iranian religions, religion in pre-Islamic Arabia. Yes, this is definitely a show in itself, but that's the spiritual heritage of the jinn. The Quran says the jinn were created from smokeless fire, or a mixture of fire. I actually think it's smokeless fire or blackness of fire. They're not purely spiritual, but are also physical, being able to interact in a tactile manner with people and objects, and likewise to be acted upon. The jinn, the humans, and angels make up the known sapient creatures of God, according to the Quran. And what is a sapient? Sapience means closely related to the term Sophia. That means things that have wisdom, things that have reality, things that have a perspective of wisdom. So the Islamic folks would tell us that the jinn do have knowledge and wisdom of Sophia. That's very, very interesting. And here's, like I was saying earlier, like human beings, the jinn can be good, they can be evil, or they can be neutrally benevolent. And they have free will just like humans. That is very interesting stuff. And this is coming from the Medieval Islamic Civilization and Encyclopedia. Islam, Arabs, and the Arabs. Islam, Arabs, and the intelligent world of the jinn. Boy, this is some interesting stuff. Approaches to demonology and the Quran, 55:15. And then there's some other ones called Shaitan Jinn. What does Shaitan sound like? Like Shaitan, what does that sound like? What does he look like? Yeah, that's the devil in Islam. So see, it's an Abrahamic religion. The Shaitan Jinn are called devils or demons and are akin to demons in Christian theology. Very, very interesting stuff. So that's what a jinn is. And I didn't want to get too deep into this, but I did want to give you an idea of what a jinn is before we started talking about what a jinn is. Why do I have the Elvis hat on today? I'm not sure. I just saw it sitting there and thought, you know what? It'd be a great idea to just put this hat on today. So I put the hat on today, and there you go. The hat is Elvis Presley's signature. I don't know if it's mirrored or not on the broadcast, but that's what it is. So I have a story that was sent to me by a person that was a part of the British forces. And I don't want to get any further into identification because I don't know how much this person wants to be identified. And yeah, I did get this at Graceland, the hat, not the story. So I was sent this story, and this is part one because it's rather lengthy to type. And I want you to hear this, and I hope that we can learn by it. I'm reading it off another computer, so I'm sorry I'm kind of looking off camera. You'll just have to get used to that. You'll just have to deal with that, unfortunately. And this message says, "Hey, Jeff," and this was in 2004 in Iraq. "Hey, Jeff, this is the gospel truth as I know it, and what I've seen and what my body perceived and the latter ramifications for that ill meeting with what can only be described as the darkest entity in every way that you could ever meet." And this isn't a person that wrote for publication. You know, they're not trying to be, flowery or, even interesting in their talk, but they are. As you can see, it's very, very interesting the way that they're speaking, and very, very interesting the way that this person tells this. So I was deployed to Al-Basra, Iraq, this person says, in the spring of 2004 for a supposed peacekeeping tour of duty, which started off relatively quiet and uneventful, bar the odd rocket and mortar attack. But as the weeks and months went on, the city steadily became a full-on guerrilla war zone as the Shia Muslims militias attacked them. At the time of having my encounter with what I believe to be the rat bastard, they say, I was stationed at the Shat El Arab Hotel just to the northern end of the city, and docks the militia of the Mahdi army were attacking in greater numbers after being bombed out of Al-Fallujah by American forces, so came south to have a pop at us Brits. So let me just show you where he's talking about, where he was. And I think this is interesting to see and to know, so I can contextualize this for you and let you know that this is a real thing. So obviously what we're looking at here is the globe. And I mean, this is literally the other side of the world, right? For most of us. Now, this person was a Brit, as they say. So, they're from the United Kingdom up here, but they're down here in Iraq at this hotel, and the thing that gets to me is you look at this, and these places, these were hotels. Look at this: Beach Hotel and Spa, Shat El Arab Hotel. I mean, these places were beautiful places before we went over there to, quote unquote, save the Iranians or the Iraqis. These were like resorts before we went over there and decided we were going to, quote unquote, save them. Before Saddam made the mistake of going off the dollar, the petrodollar. Well, we're not going to get into all the ramifications of it, but this is the city of Basra that our friend is talking to us about. And as he said, the hotel Shat El Arab is just to the north of the city and by the docks there on the river, where he says that they were being bombed and shelled by the militia, by the Shia militia. So they're here in this hotel, and it's interesting to me that it's at a crossroads of rivers. So I just want you to get a good look at this hotel, as good a look as we can. I mean, think of this, it was a resort hotel, right? Here's the hotel. It's a beautiful place, beautiful entryway, right on the river. It must have been a show place in its day, but here's where this person was. And you can imagine that most of the troops were first camped outside around in tents, but the shelling became so intense that they moved them actually inside the structure itself. So he was on the QRF. I'm not sure what the QRF means, because I was in the Air Force. I wasn't really in the military. But the night of his meeting with this entity, the platoon was ordered to take cover inside the hotel, as were all the other troops in the tents out around the hotel, due to the incessant mortar and rocket attacks. Their platoon managed to secure a room. They were spread out on their job. His job as a platoon leader, I think, and they were all good lads. He says he was getting things arranged, so he was one of the last ones. And he ended up coming in last, and he got a top bunk. And the room was about 20 square feet, he says, and they were all just needing sleep. And so all the lads were off to sleep pretty quickly. He climbed up into the bed heavily, I think is what he meant. And he thought how wrong he could have been. He was in full body armor, Kevlar helmet, ammunition, grenades, and his rifle, which he named Betty Boo. So he's quite heavy. He could have gone up in that metal bunk. And I think he's saying he could have collapsed right on the guy beneath him, but he was so tired he didn't think about it. But he got up on top and he couldn't sleep. There were mortars going off, and not only that, there were guys snoring, and he couldn't sleep. He could see the breath of his cohorts as the room was becoming cold as a freezer. And he said there was a very strange hum, hardly audible, but definitely there. And he looked left from his bunk to the door into another room, and he could see the light shining through the threshold onto the floor of the room from the hall beyond. And the temperature seemed to drop further. And then he began to see wisps of black coming into the room through the locked door. And it coalesced into the shape of a cloaked figure. And he could see through it at first. It was just made of what looked like pure black smoke. Remember our definition of jinn. It looked like it was pure black smoke, and it steadily formed complete. And he could see that it didn't have any feet. It just seemed to freeze like the air around him. It was just made of, I'm having trouble reading it. It was just feet. It didn't have any feet. It was just a black cloaked figure, and it was one big mother. It was about 7 to 8 feet tall. Time seemed to freeze like the air around me, he says, and it could manipulate time. As it lifted its head towards me, I froze like stone. It had green eyes, and the face was dark wisp with indistinguishable features. It sort of floated menacingly to the foot of his bunk and reached down and grabbed him by the neck, throttling him. I think that means choking him. But he also felt like he was being drained of something, like his energy. It throttled him up the bed, and he felt his helmet start sliding down towards the bridge of his nose. He was getting choked, and his helmet's doing this. So his helmet was sliding down towards the bridge of his nose. And his kit was being effortlessly shoved upwards towards the head of the bed. So very heavy, and this thing was very strong. Something inside me said, "Not today, Emmer Effer." And he actually spelled it out, but his intention became strong within him. And when he said that within himself, "Not today, Emmer Effer," in his spirit, he says something changed, and it had an effect as the being shrugged back as if it was pained. He felt the cocking lever and chambered it around in his firearm as some feeling returned to his right arm. He grabbed further for the pistol grip and managed to switch off the safety. And all this time he was having an amusing inner conversation with himself on the merits of trying to threaten a supernatural being with a 5.5 NATO and what deep doo-doo he'd be in if a round was discharged at the said supernatural being, and then it vanished, that would take some explaining on his part, which made him even more mad at it for putting him in that situation. So he started ginning up. Isn't that interesting that we use that word? He started, you know, really getting his intention going hardcore, and the thing backed away, but not towards the door, just off to his right side. So it was like he was making a tactical maneuver. So this jinn being backed off from him as he got his intention being projected, and it backed off to the right side. And it says, feeling returned to my body. And folks, this is what it really says: to be continued. So he had me right on the edge of my seat, and now it's to be continued. Wow. And that was right here at the Shat El Arab Hotel. I don't know what part of this hotel he was in, but that's where this took place. What a fascinating discussion. What a fascinating talk about a jinn. And I'm sure that in the next email that he sends me, he'll tell me why he thinks it was the rat bastard himself. And I'm not going to sit here and tell him it wasn't the rat bastard, because obviously I don't know, and we're going to wait and see what he has to say about that. But that's pretty fascinating right there. It's a pretty interesting story. And if we can, let's go ahead and go into the chat room and see what people have to say about this remarkable story. Okay, good afternoon. Shout out everyone. Can you elaborate on spirits like whiskey, vodka? Brokey Valley. That's funny. Mystery Johnson. Jinn. Ha ha. That's funny too. This sounds interesting. Nice hat. Thank you. Thank you. That is amazing, Kayla. I really like it. Gotta respect balance. Thank you, Julia Sugar Baker. Seems like there's a lot of new people in here, and I do appreciate you being here. I hope that you'll take the time to you know, subscribe, like, share. I hope that you'll do all that stuff. And there's no reason for me to keep sharing that picture of Al Basra, and I'm not anymore. So I guess it's just a little delay here in the works. So that's okay. So no, you don't get 3 wishes. I'm glad you got that message, Jeff. I wasn't sure that it had sent. That's amazing. Congratulations. I don't think that's deserving praise. You should be proud of that statistic. It says everything about balance. Yep. It means that you're respected across the board. Thank you. But I'm very thankful to have you folks here. I'm very thankful for the new folks. I'm very thankful for the moderators. Davey's proud to be part of a balanced community of people. Thank you. Me too. And as you've probably seen, Handy Andy Kane is the one that wrote that message to me. I dream of Jeannie. Yeah, that's a whole new spin on the Jinn, isn't it, Lee Veltman? That was a beautiful woman. That was one of my original crushes, Barbara Eden. I dream of Jeannie. Yes, indeed. But we will go on. Jinn, blue and purple, Jesus. That's interesting. Got to think about neutral spirits and Jinn. Yep, I agree. The word jinx must have something to do with Jinn mythology. Maybe. Distilled vodka is very useful to heal many skin and internal diseases. Interesting. Robin Williams played the Jinn in a Disney movie, right? They can be good or bad depending on the person. Greetings from Beirut. Nice to see you, Katha O'Hara. Very nice to see you. Do they have free will to choose light or dark? I believe they do. Hi, everyone. Late getting in. Yep. I don't know how it cleanses the pineal gland. Well, I'm kind of an expert on holistic health with cannabis oil, but that's a completely different topic. So if they have free will, does that mean they can change if they wish from good to bad? I think free will means free will. So I would say, yes, they probably could. So I see where Cuban Pixie's going. Can the Jinn help us out too? Maybe. Maybe. Thousands of gods could be just about creative imaginations, just dealing with human condition and morality. Maybe. I wonder if he was created through imaginations. I'm probably the only one from Lebanon listening. Probably, Katha. Monotheistic religions don't believe but in the one true deity. You choose the name you want. I'm good remaining neutral. Me too. Cannabis helps kill jinn. Do we have any empiric evidence on that, Ronnie B? Rudy says it's not flat. Jinn can cause many physical ailments and cannabis oil kills them, or maybe at least makes them leave. And then Lee says cannabis doesn't affect spirits or demons or jinn, but if you want to believe, okay by me, placebo effect is real. That's the nicest slap I think I've ever seen anyone take. They're made from smokeless fire. I'm listening. I'm tuning in to Ms. O'Hara. Being in Lebanon, I'm going to assume that she knows a little bit more about this lore than we do. They are smokeless fire. We read that at the beginning when we looked at the actual definition of jinn. And they do predate humans. Does drinking spirits such as gin vodka invite the jinn in? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Dubai, where are the jinn now? Probably wherever they want to be. Yes, Davey, in the American Gods, there's a taxi driver that is a jinn. I saw that episode the other day. That show is I binge watched it. I thought it was a great show, but it is intense. What if the change in attitude, personality when you drink spirits really is a spirit manifesting itself from the etheric to the physical? That is something to think about. Everything in moderation. The taxi driver was a jinn, and then his friend, I think, took on the jinn spirit, and now I don't know if the guy's a jinn. I guess he's not a jinn now. The new taxi driver. I don't think he is a jinn. I'm finding it tough to watch, but I think it's because I'm just not that into it. Oh, American Gods, yeah. Air Force comment funny. So was I 81 to 84. That's a military joke. You know, people that have been in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, they don't think us Air Force people were in the military. So if I know I'm around some Army people, I'll say, yeah, I wasn't in the military. I was in the Air Force for 6 years. They think it's funny. The room was to the left of the center dome part of the hotel. QRF is a quick reaction force. So the room was to the left of the center dome of the hotel. So I guess this is the center dome of the hotel, and the room was to the left. How about that, folks? So now we know, right, and you can't get a street view. I've already tried. So there's where they were, right over in this area here. That's pretty interesting. No, that's very, I don't even know if I shared this with you. Let me go back. You would think I knew I'd be better at this after all this time, but let me share screen, go to the hotel, share screen. Here's the center dome of the hotel. So they were probably over here somewhere, or maybe all the way out here, but I'm guessing probably right in here somewhere. Very, very interesting. It was in a circle. Very interesting stuff. So let's go back to the chat room and see what we can see. Man, they don't make it easy to look at this sometimes. They really don't. Okay. You know what? All right. I think it was a transfer of an evil spirit. Yeah, of course they had to make him a gay Arab. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think it was a transfer of an evil spirit. Yeah, he could be in the new guy. Maybe fit today's narrative and inclusiveness. I'm reading the book right now. I'll let you know what it says in the book. I haven't got there yet. Can jinn have children? I don't know. Maybe our friend from Lebanon can shed some light on this. Rudy says apparently they can. I don't know. Whoops, damn it. It jumped on me. Here we go. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Come on now. Get to the top of this. Boy, there's a whole lot of people in here. Thank you for that. Okay, somebody fell asleep with their clothes on. Can jinn have children? We don't know. They're kind of like us. They have personalities, families, etc. I've heard that. They live on waste. Haven't heard that. Goliath was a jinn. One stone and poof, he was gone. That's interesting. Good Pulp Fiction. I don't think Goliath was a jinn. That's what somebody said. Could jinn be like angels? They're kind of a different species of being. What does an angel look like? I've met one. Looked like a dude. When I was in the Air Force, I met an angel. We'll tell that story at some point. I've experienced a physical attack 2 nights ago. I did a protection ritual, 12D shield. I wonder if it was a jinn. There's a lot of jinn. I dream of genie, sex, Gene, sexy time. Yeah, I dream of genie. Thank you, George. I'm glad I'm here too. Jeff, your face looks naked. That's because it is naked. So the cannabis plant is a male plant. Can anybody translate from Romanian to English? They say the chair force. Yeah. That's funny. Circles or portals. Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. Whole plant oil. Jeff, you look kind of like the dude from the painting in Ghostbusters 2. Don't know, I didn't watch it. I dream and we can control them. Interesting. So that's some interesting stuff right there. That's some interesting stuff right there. I like that whole talk that we were in. Very interesting. I think very powerful stuff. And yeah. So let me just tell my angel story real quick, that when I was in the Air Force, is when I started preaching. And I started preaching. I was doing a Bible study one night at the base chapel. And in came this Army guy, and he was a mid-ranking sergeant. He wasn't just a regular sergeant. He was higher than a sergeant, so he had some rank on him. And he sat there, a black guy, for what it's worth. He sat there and he listened to the study, partook in it. And I noticed he had the weirdest, craziest Bible that I've ever seen. It was very big, and it looked like it was very ancient. It looked like it belonged in a museum. And I'm getting over here where I can read the comments easier. So, yeah, I can't wait either. So anyway, a lot of people calling for a regrowth of facial hair. But anyway, I was doing the study, and then after the study, I started talking to him. And he said he asked, can I drop him off at the Flughafen, at the airport, because he was going to sleep there because he was flying out the next day. I'm like, you're not going to sleep there. We got a lot of guys here that stay in the barracks, and somebody will be glad to, let you sleep with them. So I went around and around, and nobody would let this guy sleep with them, or crash in their room. They were going to, make him go back to the airport and sleep at the airport all night. I'm like, no way, I'm not going to let that happen. So I didn't ask my wife. I told my wife. That's back when I was a jerk, but I was a Christian minister. What do you want? And I told the guy to, come home with us. He came home with us, walked into our house, said, may the peace be on this place. I thought, wow, that's odd. And then he started saying he had seen me preach before, and even remembered the sermon that I preached. And I used to preach in all black churches. So he's a black guy. I'm thinking, okay, maybe. So we went to sleep that night. We got up the next morning. My ex-wife made him steak and eggs. It was really nice. He ate. We left. I went to drop him off at the Army intake center where they do all the transfers, because they're at Rhine Mine. Everybody that was going anywhere in Europe or the Middle East came through there. And there was probably 200 yards of grass with one sidewalk down the middle of it, no doors. It's just a big U-shaped buildings. And I dropped him off. He got out, walked away, and I looked back in the rearview mirror, looked up in the rearview mirror to see where he was going, and he was gone. The guy just completely vanished. So there's no doubt in my mind that he was definitely an angel. Definitely an angel. And that was at Rhine-Main Air Force Base in Frankfurt, Germany. So there you go. So yes, you can entertain angels and not be aware of it. So yes, you should keep that in mind as you're dealing with people. And there you go with the jinn. Not the J-E-N-N, but the D-J-I-N-N, or the Al-Jinn, if you want to be accurate in the Arabic language. So yes, Very interesting stuff. And I just want to say to you, I almost never feel any pressure or oppression. And I've been really having a whole lot of, I'm having trouble with my sleep cycle, sleeping a lot, having a hard time staying awake. So as we enter into this era of trying to organize a confederation of gods and remove the rat bastard, make sure you do your protection rituals. Make sure you do your 12D shields. Make sure you eat right. Make sure you're doing all that you can to keep yourself in good shape and to keep yourself protected as well. So there you go. That is an encounter with a jinn. Hopefully we'll have part two for you relatively quick. And there's a story about me meeting an angel. I don't know if angels can help us in the afterlife. I'm not sure. Oh, and look at this. We got a little troll, a heretic who believes in witchcraft. Gotcha. Just another YouTuber. Just another YouTuber troll that doesn't have anything better to do than bother people who are actually talking about something that's important. Isn't that cute? Everybody wave at the little troll. Hi, little troll. Hi, little troll. Oh, that's funny stuff. That's funny stuff. Awake again since Friday. Slept last night. Funny computer stuff going on too. Yeah, it's an interesting time. We need to stay strong. I prefer apostate over heretic as well, Lee, because it's much more accurate, I think. I think it's much more accurate. Hi, false teacher. Should we let the troll hang out? You know, because people say, Jeff, why do you even listen to these people? You know, don't block them yet. Why do you even listen to these people? Because, 25 years ago, if there had been this, I probably would have been doing this. Because I was scared. I was worried. I saw the cracks in the foundation. I knew that what I was talking was craziness. And I would have gone on here and attacked people too. Because one of the first things people do when they see their foundation crumbling is they get afraid. And when people get afraid, they start attacking. So, Beltman, do you judge much? So, yeah, that's why I kind of let them hang around a little bit. But that doesn't mean we have to let them say dumb stuff. So there you go. Some people just can't handle the truth, that's for sure. We need trolls. Who would protect the bridges? Exactly, Iowa X. Well, folks, I appreciate you being here. I salute those of you that are here seeking truth, and even those that aren't here seeking truth. You don't have original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. That's why you should love yourself and love everybody else. That's why Christ said, this is how you know that you're in my game, because you have love one for another, because you've realized you've got no original sin. You've realized they've got no original sin. So, folks, it's time to decide, is the world gone crazy or have you? I'm here to help you decide and help you decide what to do once you have made that decision. So unindoctrinate yourself. And more than anything else, folks, stay fearless, my friends. And let me just say, in honor of the hat, thank you. Thank you very much.